Hey, welcome back to Tactics Talk with Guido. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support as always. And I've got the second episode of Why We Lost. Why We Lost. And you can see we are on Fiery Salient, and I'm in my IKB 65-2, Tier 6 Swedish TD. It's an awful, awful little tank. Actually, it's not that bad, but I don't play it very well. In fact, I have been trying to get a lot of my lower win rate tanks up to 50% just because I want to. Turns out there's quite a few down in the tier 2 to 6 area where I just played through them and didn't worry too much about the record and moved on. This is one of them, and I played this quite a bit the other day, and I was trying to get wins. And this was not a win, which is why it's titled Why We Lost. But let's talk about Proc and Fiery Salient for just a moment here, because there is a fundamental misunderstanding of how this map is played. And Artie also plays into this. So let's see how this starts to flow out as I head up this way. And I decide to take my TD. I'm going to go up the hill, grab some of those big thick bushes up there, and I want to shoot down onto the 5-6 line. I want to shoot down onto the 5-6 line. Now I want you to watch this deployment for a moment. I'm not going to really say anything about it, but just watch it as it goes. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and make the minimap large. Grande. Take a look at it. And start thinking to yourself, all right, where would I have gone? And start thinking to yourself, where would I like someone else to be? Now I know it's leading, I'm kind of talking you through it. A lot of players will understand right away exactly what is wrong with this deployment. So I'll go up to grab the bush here and then we'll talk about it. So I jump in there and we're going to pause it. So get past that clicky click right there. We have a SU-122-44, a T-71, a Black Prince, and a T-150, along with artillery going down at the 1-2 line. Fair enough. Not too bad. We have, looks like an AFK E-25. We have an M6 sitting on the crossing, some more artillery in the back, and a whole crowd of people. Turn it around. The T-34 IS-6 and a Sturv, as well as the Super Pershing. These are all of our Tier 8s, and all of our Tier 8s are headed up the hill. This map, actually all the maps, have certain metas on them that work more often than not. That is just something you're going to have with a mature game that has mature maps that haven't changed for a long time. There are just ways to play the maps that are better than others. And while there are always exceptions, you can get away with certain things, especially at low tiers like we are right here. If you want to play the high percentage play, then you've got to play the map correctly, and this team is not playing the map correctly. The biggest thing that it is missing right now is somebody down here on the 5-6 line lighting up guys trying to poke up here. I've talked about this multiple times on different videos of mine. In order for this hill to work, you've got to have somebody down here on 5-6 keeping this side honest so that you have shots down onto them. What you don't need is all of your Tier 8s getting up on this hill and camping. Unless you're going to make a concerted push over and try to roll these guys up, which is not a really great idea because of all the different sniper possibilities. And oh, by the way, we have 3 artillery on there. Let's talk about the artillery. Why doesn't anybody want to go on the 5-6 line? Well, a couple reasons. One is the bloody artillery. Nobody wants to go there and get bombed to death, although you can see that the other team is taking that chance. Additionally, it's difficult to fight right here. You can get shot from their side, off of the side of the hill. You can obviously get hit by artillery. You can get lit up by the scouts going back and forth. It is a difficult place to fight. These guys back here in the Tier 8s are not very good, and they have probably found that they get spanked when they go on 5-6 because they don't know how to play it. So what they've decided to do, instead of go to the right place or the place that helps the team the most, they have decided to go up on the hill where they tend to live the most. And that is what bad to new players do. They learn they get spanked when they go to certain meta positions, and then they go to a position where they don't immediately get spanked, but they continue to lose games because they're in a crummy place. So let's take a look at how this thing goes. There's not a whole lot more to talk about as far as what's wrong with this deployment and why this game is lost. You can see that there's a VK right there, and we've got the 1-2 going on. Now, a decent 1-2 push or some good work by scouts on the 1-2 line, and if the enemy team down here does not send too much to the 1-2 line. There is a possibility of coming around here and starting to flank and working on these guys in the middle. But not with the way we're doing it, because we've got a bunch of campers hanging back out here. Only our scout in this T-43, which is not long for the world, is doing anything offensive to try to find out what's going on. Let's talk about how you do this hill right here. This is just for the micro positioning within this hill or on this hill. You've got the T-34 and he is moving up along the side. He's up on the red line. The problem with that spot right there is he is so high up on the hill, he gets shot at all day long by all of these tanks that are stacked up down here. He's an easy target for artillery. If you are going to go up and try to light these guys, see this little bowl? I'm going to move a little bit. Right here where it's a little bit of a dip, that's where you want to be, especially with the depression on the T-34. You lower your tank down a little bit, you minimize the amount of side shots they have on you. The T-34 is tall enough that the side of its turret will get hit a few times, but it is much, much better than being way up here on the red line. Do not do that. Meanwhile, the IS-6, a known sniper tank, is sitting way back here along with the Super Pershing, a decent sniper tank, but they're all up on the top of the ridge highlighted. So let's see how this goes for these clowns. Actually, the Sturb, I think, moves up a little bit right here. T-34 comes up, and that's okay. He's lighting, but here's the problem. He just lit these guys, and the only thing we have that can hit him is artillery. There is nobody, and you can see I'm clicking madly down here because I'm highly irritated. This is where we need to have the snipers shooting up into the hill right here. And he pays the price. We get a whole 16 hit points from an artillery going in there, and now we've got the Sturb decides to rush up. And meanwhile, I have nothing to shoot at. And the T-34 is getting hammered. He'd actually done better to tuck down into this low spot right here instead of back up on the top. So both these guys are backing up. The IS-6 is just sitting there. The Sturb is getting hammered because he's being proxy lit or maybe just plain old seen if he's poking up and over. Artillery is raining down, and this whole hill thing is going badly. The T-34 decides to come down a little lower here. Gets behind me. And we start working on a very foolish M6 that moves up. The only reason we're going to kill this guy is because he's dumb. Should have never pushed up in there. That has nothing to do with any skill or great positioning by us. He just walked out into the open. Now, the T-150 finally came across, but he's not really the best guy for seeing things. In fact, he gets seen pretty quickly right there. There may even be somebody in a bush up top here that's actually spotting him before he can get anywhere near. In addition, they still have scouts scouting along the ridge right here, and we do not have any scouts scouting along the ridge here. In fact, our scout's dead. So he could be easily seen by some scout way over here, and we have nothing to see that. And there goes their scout. He's pushed in, and they're going to roll up now on the 1-2 line. And this thing just goes south from here. You can see the IS-6 is still sitting there. Hard to tell if he's a bot or what's going on. The Super has decided that the T-34's move was pretty dumb, but he's going to try to do the same move and see if it's not dumb. Way up on the edge. I have no idea where that shot went, whether it bounced or just went over top of him. Get out of that again. And the T-34 still sitting on the corner. Now we are stuffed into 1/4 of the map, and things are really starting to get bad from there. All right, no reason really to go through the rest of this. We'll just pause it. No reason to see the bitter end, because this team just gets completely rolled up as they kill the AFK E-25, eat up our artillery, kill off the M6, and now they're up on here, spotting. I take one shot at somebody that's out here in the flat. Of course, I get lit immediately, and I'm shot from about 32 different directions because they've only lost 2 tanks. So why did we lose? Purely because of bad decision-making by primarily our Tier 8s or any other players who decided not to go to 5-6 because that was a critical portion of the map. I had 3 choices. Go up here, sit on this track and try to get some sniper shots, not a great spot for a TD, or head over here onto the 1-2 line and attempt to stop this push down here. But as you can see, based on our Tier 8s being very passive, positioning poorly and not really knowing what they're doing up on the hill, they essentially took themselves out of the entire game. All three of our tier 8s were basically not in this game. You can see there's one of theirs there, probably already up here. There's another one of their tier 8s right there. We got a couple minor tanks hanging out right here, and they just rolled this up. So it's really no mystery. What's probably interesting is to that guy and the T-34 and that T-26, it probably is a mystery to them why they lost. So I hope this helps, guys. Remember, Proc Fiery Salient is one of those wide open spotting maps, okay, vision control maps, and all three sides of this map are important for different reasons. And you've got to have somebody at each point in order to make that kind of symbiotic relationship work. And if you're planning on taking one of the 3 tier 8s and just sitting on top of a hill, hoping that the enemy is going to be stupid, that's probably not really a good plan. And you should not be surprised when you go, hey, why do we lose? All right, like I said, hope this helped. Hope you like it. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And as always, we will see you.